What's up guys, welcome back to Proxima Reviews. As you can see, we have a brand new shooting angle today, and hopefully this will stick for the channel. Hopefully you like this new angle so that you can see other sides, other angles of the products that we're going to review. But at the same time, we still have the main camera angle, which is the top view. So this is going to be hopefully a welcome addition to this channel. So let's get on with it. Today we have another Airsoft, one highly requested Airsoft review. This is the Kar98K Mauser. A lot of people have been requesting this because, as I can see, it's quite cool. It looks cool. I mean, it's a Mauser. A lot of people know what a Mauser is, its significance. So let's get on with the review. Alright, so let's run this down. First of all, you can see here, this is the barrel. This is the iconic Mauser front ring sight. As you can see, this doesn't have a cleaning rod, and I actually don't know why it doesn't have its cleaning rod, but usually it should have its cleaning rod. But maybe that's something that they weren't able to put on this one. It has a laser, but the thing is, well, the old Mausers didn't really have lasers, so maybe this is just an addition. So I guess we can take this out. It's not an accurate laser. So we have the barrel clamp over here, the full-length frame of the Mauser. You have the the rear sights, and the rear sights on this also serves as the magazine well. Weirdly, it's not here. And then next we have a scope that comes with the product. This scope actually magnifies a little bit. I think it's just a plastic lens. It's a cool decoration to it, but the thing is, it's not really worth anything if you're gonna use it for shooting and you're not gonna hit anything with it. It's just for decoration, so let's loosen this up and slide it off. Let's go all classic with this one. Alright, now on to the magazine well, the real magazine well. So the magazine well, as you can see, has a Picatinny rail on top of it. The old Mausers didn't really have that, but some modern rifles have Picatinny rails installed on top of them so that you could attach optics on it. And this one has it because they wanted to attach an optic, but the classic Mauser really didn't have this. But it's something that you can't take off. It's really a part of the gun, right? So underneath we have the trigger. It's the classic Mauser trigger. We also have the bullet underplating, but you can't open this up. You have the action and the handle to the action, and then the stock, the rest of the butt stock, and then also a butt plate. Right. This is your Karabiner 98 Kurz, or the Karabiner 98 Kurz. Kurz means short, and Karabiner means carbine in English. That means this is shorter than a rifle. It's not as big as a regular rifle. So to understand this, we should first talk about and review where this came from, which is the company Mauser. Mauser was a rifle making company back in World War II, and famously they made this one, the Kar98K. So the Kar98K was actually derived from much earlier rifles. So the 98K was actually a shortened version of the 98B, which the 98B was a shortened version of the Gewehr 98. This was really in an attempt to make a handier rifle for the German army, one that was easier to bring around and maneuver, because as time progressed, people came to understand that wars weren't fought as they were in World War I, where people would volley from distances such as 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers away. That's why there was once a need for the Gewehr 98, the longer rifle, which could actually shoot very accurately in those distances. Not that this can't shoot that well, this can actually shoot somewhat in that range also. Its success really made the components and the design of the action very much sought out, very much sought after by gun manufacturers, which is why to this day the Mauser action still is one of the most successful bought action designs of all time, and is widely copied and being modified by other manufacturers. Even in World War II, the Mauser action was being paid royalties by the Americans, by Springfield, and this was used all throughout the war. At the beginning and even at the end, this was being manufactured. And even after the war, a lot of other countries adopted this rifle. They got some of the extra produced Mausers that were left out from the war and took it to solidify their own defenses for their own countries. Alright, so that is the Kar98K. That is where it came from, why it was designed, and here we have it today as an airsoft toy. And with that, what are we waiting for? Let's shoot this thing. Alright, stay tuned. I'll see you in a while. carabiner, Kar98K for our Mauser Kar98K. Right, so what do I think about it? Actually, it's actually really good, but then it failed to get to some parts, but it also succeeded in a lot of other parts. So let's run it through. In terms of its build quality, honestly, I think this one is very well built, very sturdy actually. Yes, it's still made of some cheap plastics, but then it's not the strongest plastic, but it surely is enough to call it durable. The scope that it comes with is also kind of cool, as it's made of some optical material. It has some magnification to it. Where's the scope? I think I have the scope here. So here's the scope. It has some magnification material inside there. You can actually, don't know if you can see it, but I'll show it a little bit more in the video. So yeah, it has some magnification, but you can't really use it to aim. And that's because it doesn't have a clear crosshair either. The bolt is also quite sturdy, but with a little give that I hope they could have fixed and made it a bit tighter. I'll show you what I mean. So if you pull this bolt back, you can see it. It moves a little bit to the left and the right. That's because it's not that tight. So I just hope that they could have made this a little bit tighter, because it works really well. It's very easy to pull the bolt. The spring is not that heavy. But the thing is, it kind of worries me sometimes if it might break because of the give. Because it's a little bit too much give for me. They could have lessened this a bit more. But that's okay. That could easily be countered by, instead of just holding the bolt handle, you could hold it a little bit closer to the bolt instead of over here. Actually hold it over here and pull the whole thing so that your hand is closer to the bolt, therefore it's not gonna be pulled to the left or pushed to the right. It's closer. Or you could even hold this fake safety and pull it like that, just so that you don't break it. So that's a good piece of advice, I think, so that you could maintain this for longer. Alright, so for the realism part of it, yes, it's quite there. Realism is more of in the upper middle of the spectrum, I think. However, it did get the more important things right. Overall, it really does look like the Kar98K. Yes, I think there's not really a big part of this that doesn't look like it, except for the Picatinny rail. That's kind of not realistic, but we'll get to that later. This looks like a 41 built Mauser, I think, if I remember it right. I think that because of the larger butt plate. Earlier Mausers had a really thin butt plate, but after a while they decided to make the butt plate a lot bigger. This part is the butt plate, the black part. That's so that it could protect the wood a little bit more. Instead of just having one flat butt plate there, they made something that would really go into the wood and clench the wood. On the other hand, the length is also not quite there, frankly. The Mausers, typical Mausers, are what, more than a meter long, but then this one, the last time I checked, is some 10 centimeters smaller than a real Mauser, so it's actually quite small. But it's not too small that it doesn't feel like a rifle. It actually still does feel like a very well-built rifle, stable rifle. It doesn't look like a fake gun, a fake airsoft. But then they could have extended this a little bit longer, just stretched it a little bit longer, and also for the front barrel they could have made this a little bit longer too. It's not bad, but I just can't say that it's fully realistic. Weight is also not there since it's very light. Anyway, it's a plastic toy. It's expected to be quite light. Another is that it doesn't really have its cleaning rod. As I said a while ago, yeah, it doesn't have a cleaning rod. Mausers typically have cleaning rods, especially this model, the one with these parts. But later in the war, there were Mausers without cleaning rods, so it's not that unrealistic for a Mauser to not have a cleaning rod. But this design, particularly the ones that look like this with a clip that's looking like this, these bands looking like this, you could maybe consider this part as your bayonet lug, the front part, this one, if you can see it. But it's not really designed to be a bayonet lug, but maybe you could just tell yourself that it is to add a little bit more to the realism point. And as I was saying a while ago, the Picatinny rail is really not realistic on it. There were no Mausers with Picatinny rails before. It was invented after that time. But it's not unreal for a bolt-action rifle to have a Picatinny rail. Even Mausers, some old Mausers have been upgraded. I don't know why you would, but some old Mausers I've seen have been upgraded to have Picatinny rails so that you could mount better optics, larger optics on them. So this is not that unrealistic. But the problem with this one is, since you can't take that out, it's really big that it blocks the front sight. And actually, you can't really use the front sight because this is it's basically the magazine of the thing. And there's also, you can't drive this up or down. It just stays there. So having said that, I know it's kind of funny that reloading will require you to open the rear sight, because I hope they could have found a way to make reloading happen here. But the thing is, this is the housing of the spring and the air chamber. Therefore, you can't really load the BBs there. And lastly, for the realism part of this, yes, I know that I picked the least Mauser skin on this. This is something like a digital forest camo skin that I picked. There's also a wood version on this, which the original Mauser is wood. Give me a second, hear me out on this. Let me explain why I made this decision. There was a wood skin, but it was a plastic wood skin, and if you look at it in the images, it really looks like a toy when you use the plastic wood skin. The wood doesn't do it any justice. It looks like PVC plastic. It doesn't look anywhere like real wood. It has the texture, but it doesn't have the reflection and the as simple as it doesn't even fool you even just a bit that it's wood. That's why I decided to get this digital camo instead, because I'd rather settle on telling myself that this is an upgraded Mauser, a Mauser that was painted, or a Mauser that was wrapped with some sort of gun wrap so that it would be ready for the woodland environment. Something for maybe for hunting, instead of just preserving it as a classic Mauser. And you could see that there are a lot of rifles these days that take up all sorts of camouflage skins. And also there are a lot of grooves here that the plastic just was assembled into. This pretty much hides it because the camo is very distinct, and then the camo is very because the camo is very dense, and it really has splotches wherein it's really hard to see grooves like this one. There's a cut here in the middle, but from afar you can't really see it. But if this was using the wood version, the wood color, you could easily see the shadow of the cut. That's why it really looked like a fake Mauser, or even just a toy gun. That's why I think this is the better looking version of it, the one with the digital forest camo thing. I think it's more of a forest camo because it doesn't really have any brown on it. It's dark green and olive green. Okay, so for power and accuracy, sadly, it's really not that strong. It has less range than my prior reviews of even the sub-carbines, the P1977, the G36C. Absolutely less than those. It's closer to the range of the GAF19 actually. I feel like this is due to the weaker spring, and I can say that because pulling the spring feels really light and doable. See, even if I'm not holding it well, I can easily hold that. Right. That's why it's kind of required to have a lighter spring. I'm not sure if that's the real reason, but all I'm trying to say is I can feel that the spring is weak. It's not really a strong spring, especially since you can't really adjust the stock on this with regard to how tall or how long your arms are. I think they really have to compromise on just a weaker spring. The other thing is the barrel on this is really long, so I guess a lot of the friction from the barrel translates also to the speed of the BB coming out. Therefore, and this is, I guess, just a plastic barrel. It's not really that smooth. It's not really made for a long range shooting. No, it's really just a toy still. So the weird thing is, contrary to it being a rifle, it isn't strong and has less range than other spring airsofts that I have. You'll need to aim higher, definitely, at certain distances on this. For accuracy, however, when shooting it at its effective range, it's very much accurate. It's actually quite accurate. Just make sure you're in range and that you're not that far. It's very accurate. My shots are lining up perfectly with it, and I would aim through the front ring and I would see holes in my paper targets through that front ring. It's that accurate. It's very straight. It's very accurate as long as you're in its effective distance. You can't shoot really far, but if you use this like close range and shoot with this, it's very accurate, I can tell you that. But then to a beginner who's just looking to try airsoft, this is really good. It's also not that strong, therefore if you're not yet that good on your safety precautions and all that stuff that you need to know and do to be responsible, this will do a lot less damage to things in the house, or even if you accidentally hit someone with this, it's going to do a lot less damage. That's why I would support having this as a beginner airsoft if you just want to try it, or if you just want to play inside the house, you don't have that much space. I think this is good. That's why in terms of usability, it is very usable. It's very reliable, actually, also in my opinion. First of all, I can say that I can shoot this all day as long as I want, as long as you don't mishandle it and put too much pressure on the parts. Honestly, in that, it embodies the spirit of the Kar98K. It's just gonna keep shooting. And one of the cool things with this is that it actually holds a lot of BBs. It holds 80 rounds inside the chamber. 80 rounds in here. You can shoot it all day. If you don't mind that you don't have that much range, you can shoot it all day. I promise that. The only problem I see with this is that the chamber isn't really spring-loaded. That's why every shot that you take, when you're gonna shoot, okay, put it, fire. When I pull the bolt for my next shot, I have to aim the gun a little bit higher so that the BBs actually slide down. When the BBs slide down, that's when you pull the bolt, and that's when it catches one of the BBs and then loads it into the bolt. I mean into the chamber. So then you shoot like that, bang, it's gonna shoot. If you pull this again right away, the BBs are all in the front. The loading mechanism is here at the back. That's why there's a possibility that it will not load. That's why the easiest rule of thumb to do is just point it up every time you load the gun. But I urge you to be careful when doing that. Make sure you know where your gun is pointing at all times. But it's doable as long as you make sure and remember to be responsible. It's absolutely doable. There's no problem about that. So I think this is very usable and very reliable in terms of what it can do. For the fun factor, yes, I absolutely think this is such a joy to shoot. Despite it being a bit smaller than the real one, it's an absolute joy to shoot. You can just shoot away. As I've been saying, 80 rounds, guys, 80 rounds. So with this one, yes, you get it. Even if it's not the best replica or the best build, yeah, it's very fun and absolutely would recommend, especially for the price. So for my conclusion on this one, this is some real good quality fun. I would recommend this a lot to people who want to try to get into spring types and airsofts in general. This is because you don't have to think about it too much. You just shoot away and it's gonna do it for you. And you don't have to focus too much on shooting long-range targets yet. Just get the habits in check first, especially when holding rifles. This is still the basics. You hold an M4 the same way, you hold the AK the same way. This is a good start to get your rhythm going when shooting, and also to practice coordination between your right and left hand, and when aiming and using your eyes to aim. The sight picture is very good for an iron sight. This is the classic Mauser ring, guys. This is the classic Mauser ring. So, very much recommendable. It's a nice gift actually to people who wanna try airsoft, who wanna try shooting, or who just wanna go plinking at home. And finally, looks are also a very big strong point on this rifle. Personally, I think it looks great. It really looks a lot like the classic Mauser build. The legendary engineering of its action, its significance today, its design, everything behind it, it makes it an even cooler piece to own, and that's absolutely awesome for me. So, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more airsoft videos and videos on a lot of other things. Please leave a comment down below what you think about this, and if you have any recommendations on future reviews, please do so. I've been listening to those, I've been hearing those out, and I found a lot of cool things because of you guys. It may take me a bit more time to make videos because I'm a really busy guy, but rest assured I'm going to continue to do this because I'm really having fun doing this, and I'm having fun using the stuff that you recommend to me. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you liked this new setup, and I hope you've been looking at these pieces a little bit better. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.